Hey
Hey,
Sarah, how you going?
good. How are you?
Yeah, good thanks, good thanks. Oh, nice to see you.
Hey.
How are you holding up in the isolation period?
Um, yeah, we're getting a bit sick of it. It's just getting a bit annoying being stuck at home. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess in a weird way, I'm like kind of used to it because I work from home. But
yeah.
I guess not having like the option of going to the shops. I mean, you
Um,
can, but it's
for
kind of
now.
thing. So, so yeah, it's been a bit interesting, and yeah, and then like all the new um restrictions they're talking about in terms of like, oh, you can only see your parents if they are sick and things like that. We're a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. So need to look into that a bit because yeah, it's just not ideal, is
No,
it?
no, definitely not. No, it's a bit sad. I think a lot of people are missing it. Hey Jolene, how you going? Hey Sabrina.
Everyone's joining. This is
Thanks,
awesome.
thanks for joining us, ladies.
Hi,
Jolene, is that your little one?
it is. I'm just going to mute myself and I'll listen as much as I can.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. I have little ones too, so it's all good.
That's why I've turned the camera. I'll turn it on. He's sitting
Oh,
here. He loves
hello.
looking at it.
So
Cute.
cute.
So cute.
Yeah. Jolene, how are you guys going in isolation?
Yeah, it's trying to find things to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been through his fourth leap, so it's
Okay.
driving me insane. But I think he's coming
Yeah.
out the other side
Sure.
and trying to get work done and with him is hard.
Yes. Yeah. I understand.
What do you do, Jolene?
I'm an accountant, so we've been quite busy just trying to help people understand what they can do.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to know what they're entitled to, and
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you're very busy at the moment.
we
Thank you
are.
for it. Hey Sabrina, down the bottom of your screen is where the video and audio settings are, just down on the bottom left. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I don't know what to press. I've never used this.
No, that's okay. That's all right. So down the bottom of the Zoom screen on the left, it'll say stop video with a line through it. If you click that, that'll turn your video on. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you can.
Yeah, I'll just go grab my little one.
Yep.
He's
Awesome.
just woken up.
Sure. No worries. Oh, awesome. Well, we got a good group today. I'll wait until Sabrina's back too, but I also just wanted to check if you guys would mind if I take like a screenshot of us chatting and share that a bit later.
I look terrible, but
You look fine. You look fine. Well, I think we're all going to be looking a bit. I know I've got like heaps of regrowth and stuff in my hair. We're all going to be looking our natural selves by the end of it.
I haven't washed my hair for days.
Yes, I feel that.
Yeah.
We're back.
Hello. I was just saying to the other ladies, Sabrina, do you mind if I take a screenshot at some point, maybe during the chat, and share it a bit later?
No, that's all good.
Yep. Cool. Hi. Oh, got that sleepy, just woken up look.
Who looks after your kids, Courtney, when you're on meetings and things?
So Alex has taken Nathan to work with him today in the city. They
Nice.
drove in together, which is awesome. And Evie's still at daycare, but she's only going 3 days a week for the next couple of weeks.
Nice.
Try and ease the time a bit and give me some time to actually do these sorts of things.
Get things done. Yeah, sure.
Definitely. Awesome. So who has a question or a challenge that they wanted to chat about today? And don't all jump up at once.
Oh, I thought she was about to talk. I had a few people asking, can I make my prices cheaper?
As in for you
because
yourself? Yeah.
Because they've apparently seen other people doing it.
Yeah. I would say that in the time that we're going into at the moment, if you can lower your prices, it's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
That was my thinking.
Yeah. Because the point we're in at the moment, like no one wants to spend any money. Everyone's really uncertain and unsure and scared, and everyone's sort of like pulling back. People are already very like risk averse and loss averse anyway. So when you throw global pandemic into the mix of it, that just makes that psychological disposition even worse. If you can afford to lower your prices, I would definitely do this. I'm recording this, by the way, and I can share it with you guys if you want to watch it back or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sabrina, what do you do?
I'm a baby sleep consultant.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You're all right, buddy. What do you do?
I'm a wedding florist and also starting
nice.
to tap into like creative business coaching as well. So
yeah.
Very exciting change.
You're right, darling.
Did that comment I wrote back to you, Sarah, for your questions, did that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It was super helpful.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and no, it made total sense. Like, it was great to know, like, yes, you can offer your first few sessions free, like if you make that really clear in terms of like what you expect in return. And I know that you've always been, you know, the person who says like, no, don't discount, like you're setting your business up for failure. So I half already knew that answer, but it was good to hear you say that. And like, yeah, just be challenged with, you know, the whole concept of like, you know, what is this service worth, and like what value am I providing?
Yeah.
Because so it was good, and it definitely helps me to think more about that.
There's a big difference too between, say, like if you had come out and said, hey, I'm offering discounted sessions because it's the start of my business, because I'm new to this and I just want to kind of get you know, some experience, and that's very different to say what Sabrina was talking about before with you know, offering discounts or lower prices because of COVID-19. One of them, it's I'm doing this because I need work. The other is I'm doing this because I want to help. So when you're with discounts, the biggest thing is that people just they signal something very, very immediately. They usually signal that there's something wrong, that there's a reason that there's been a discount. So as long as you match it with really clear communication, you can actually provide a context around that for people. You know, saying something like, because it's my first few sessions, I'm just offering a discounted rate. People are already, like, even without you intending it, going to have the interpretation that it's not going to be as good as if it were full price. There's been, because it's been discounted. There's even been, there's been a lot of research, like Dan Ariely has done research into how effective painkillers are based on how expensive they are. And they had a control group, and they had a group where they all got one group got a placebo and two groups got like just a generic painkiller. One of the painkiller groups were told that these pills cost 10 cents each. The other group was told these pills cost $2.50 each per pill. And they then gave them some electric shocks and measured their pain responses and that. And the group that had the more expensive medicine actually reported higher levels of pain relief, like significantly higher.
Wow.
So even just the communication that you pair with your pricing can have a really big impact, not only on how people perceive it, but when they use it, how good they perceive it to be. There's been a lot of research to indicate that if you pay like more for a bottle of wine, you'll just enjoy it because your brain expects to enjoy it, and expectation can actually like change how you actually experience things after that. So that's why I said I wouldn't discount it and say I'm doing this to get my first few sessions. What you could do is you could say, you know, I'm making this change in my business, and I know things are really uncertain at the moment. There's been a lot of talk that you shouldn't actually mention COVID-19 in your marketing and things, and I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You could say something along the lines of, you know, in these uncertain times, I really want to help business as much as possible. So instead of charging the price, which would have been X, I'm actually going to be offering sessions at X because I really want to help you get to, you know, a place where you're stronger and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Yeah, that's cool. I recently released like a freebie targeted towards like wedding professionals who've been impacted by weddings being postponed and like how they can leverage the next few months. So I suppose like, I recently started an email list, and I think like that could be a cool way to go about things, as you've said, like, you know, during these times, you know, I want to be able to help you as much as I can. And I hadn't really thought of it that way.
Cool.
Thank you.
Jolene, did you have any questions? I don't know. I think you're the only one I didn't chat to just before this meeting today.
No, I just I was just coming along to
Coming along to listen.
Yeah.
That's all good. That's all right.
Yeah, we've just released a freebie because everyone's working from home, so we're just trying to do blogs and stuff like that, just to get our name out there at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a really good time for brand building. I had a session with my mentor this morning, and he was saying focusing on getting your market segmentation right, getting your product development right, and building your brand in terms of just helping people as much as possible, whether that's through freebies or content or through, so I'm now doing like free presentations one-on-one with people, just trying to do as much as possible, those sorts of things, build things like goodwill and trust and credibility. And those are things that you need a lot more of in a time like this, just to keep those connections.
Is that what you reckon? Sorry. He's playing peekaboo with you now.
Aww. Oh, there you are.
You're a shot. You're waving hello.
Aw, hello.
How old is he?
19 months. No, don't take the phone.
Right.
It's not.
Ugh. Oh.
What has he done?
I love his
Doesn't
little
even know what it is.
haircut. Such a cute little haircut.
Very, very cute.
Thank you. He's still in the show. Isaac. Yes, your name's Isaac.
Cool.
Courtney, I'd love to ask a question
Please.
for my wedding business, because obviously a lot of people's employment is being impacted, but like a lot of wedding suppliers are still encouraging 2021 couples, like, please keep planning your weddings.
Yeah.
I usually take a 25% deposit. Do you think I should consider lowering the deposit amount to make it easier for couples who still want to book in but maybe aren't in the position to pay like the full 25%? Or do you think that that's reasonable? And second part to that question, should I be looking into something like payment plans? If that's like, do you think that would be helpful for couples with their wedding planning?
I would say to do both and offer them as options. So you could, but price them differently. So you could give them the option and say, hey, if you're a couple who's planning on having a wedding in 2021, you can either do what you normally do. So you give me 25% deposit and then you pay however you normally would. Or you can have a payment plan. Now what that payment plan looks like is totally up to you. Keep in mind that the more risk you take on and take away from them, you should be pricing for that. I mean, I'm not saying to like go overboard with it, but there should be a difference there, because you want to keep pricing integrity for the customers who are able and want to pay a 25% upfront and then just pay as they normally would. They should be paying, say, like full price. And then for people who go on a payment plan, you could add on 5, 10, 20% over the life of what the total thing is, because profit comes from risk. If you can give them options, not only does that increase the chance of a yes by 50%, it also increases the perceived value, because you are trying to make it easy for them to make a decision. Because usually when people are making a buying decision, they don't actually know what they want. We only know what we want in context. That's why we need choices. It's really hard if there's just one option for something for us to make a decision, because we don't really have anything to compare it to know if it's good or bad. So the minute you bring options into it, you actually make the buying decision easier, and this makes it less risky from a psychological perspective, because they know, okay, well, I can do that or I can do that. It also gives them a better sense of control as well in the situation. And in times like this, when we feel like we have no control, if you can give options and just be super clear on what the payment terms are, and maybe you have it as a flat thing that you offer to everybody, maybe you work it out individually, couple to couple, that's up to you, and depending on how many people you usually service. If you only have a low number, I'd consider doing it person to person, because you don't know what people need. And I would, I would offer it up. And also, like, if people ask for the payment plan, you could say like, yes, I do have that as an option. You can either pay full price and pay 25% of that and then do this, or it's this much total over however many months, this much per week or fortnight.
Yeah, that's helpful.
I can hear Dance Monkey in the background.
Yes.
We'll start a dance party. Yes. Oh, it's my daughter's favourite too.
He usually dances, but he's not feeling very well.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're going to put on a dance show.
Did that make sense, Sarah?
Yeah, that did. I think I just need to work out how I would break that down in the quote, because usually it's like item, total price, and then at the bottom it's to book in, please pay a 25% deposit. Rah, rah, rah. So I guess from there it would just be working out how do I break it down so it's easy to understand for them. Like, these are your options if you want to move forward.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, also working out what that payment plan would look like and how much I would want to tack on for the extra risk, as you said. I'll need to think about that. But no, it does make sense. And I think giving people those options, especially at a time like this, I would imagine would give them that sense of like control in the situation. So
definitely. It has a really big impact. Anytime that you give someone a feeling of control or perceived control, that increases their perceived value as well, which affects their willingness to pay. What are the items that you mentioned that you have in your in your quote?
So it would just be like the actual products that they would be after. So like bridal bouquet, bridesmaids, this many buttonholes, this arbor, kind of breaking it down that way. I have also like considered the idea of like packaging it and like not actually itemizing it for them. I think the reason I've been hesitant to do that is because often when they come to me and ask for a quote, they don't really know how much things cost. So kind of breaking it down for them and showing them this is how much you're looking at, then they can decide, oh, we don't need this many buttonholes, or we can take off the arbor or whatever they decide to do, and like we can actually go from there. But I don't know, I would be interested to hear your thoughts. Like, is that something I could be considering? Like, instead of itemizing it, presenting the total price?
You can itemize it, just as long as you're not having the price of each individual thing next to the items.
Okay.
I wouldn't put the prices there, because when you itemize and price your items, that actually decreases the perceived value of each of those items, and it also it exposes them to more signals of loss. So every time someone sees a price in the brain, it signals loss. Makes it harder for them to buy. So the more prices they see like on a page, it kind of just overwhelms the brain a bit, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose, rather than what you're going to gain. So you could certainly have a list of things so that people know what they're buying. I wouldn't have the prices next to the items themselves, or just have the total price at the bottom, because that's all your customer really cares about at the end of the day. Is it's not that they want to know how much is each individual thing, they just want to know how much is this going to cost me. In terms of your packaging, you could certainly do it by, are there any particular like common desires or common themes that you see for couples who come to you? Like, there are some who want like a particular type of wedding, and some who want another style, a particular kind or size, or is there any kind of common theme around which people are looking for?
Yes and no, like, because it is so custom. Like, there are definitely, I guess, more popular trends that I could kind of go off. But yeah, it is tricky to kind of create set packages as such, which is why I have kind of just done custom quoting for everything.
So one option you could do is like, because I'd imagine there'd be some people, and I know that these aren't your ideal clients, but the people who just want like the basics sort of thing. If you have a package that's called beautiful basics or something like that, and then you put things in there that you would need to do as like your acceptable bare minimum, like the minimum amount that you would be happy to be paid to do. And that could be like your base package, that if someone picked that, you would be like, yep, I'm happy to do that. That's the bare minimum that I'm happy to do. It's a price that I'm happy to pay. Happy to be paid. Because if you call it something like, you know, just the basics package, that's going to be really, really clear to people, as opposed to maybe if you do it by a theme, like if you had a romantic theme or a boho theme or whatever it was, like some people will know what that means.
Yeah.
Others might not. Whereas if you can sort your packages and title them in a way that's going to be really clear to them, of like, oh, okay, if I go for the basics package, I'm just going to get the basics. I'm not going to get any extras that I don't need. It also tells them that you're experienced and you're confident in what they will need as the basics, and they're going to trust that judgment because you're the professional.
Yeah.
So that's one way you could do it, is you could do it based on those kinds of things that people usually come to you and they're like, I want this kind of wedding or this size wedding.
Could you go like, say, beautiful basics, like from $1,000, but then like make it clear if you want to like edit it, you can, but like, you know what I mean? Like giving people that flexibility.
You can. I would just be aware that whenever you say from, say if you said from $2,000, people are going to assume it's $2,000. That's now become their reference price. As soon as they see that, that's their anchor in their mind. If you then come back and say, you know, if you have it, say you have a consult with them and it turns out that what they want is actually $4,000 worth, and you come back and say, here's your quote, it's actually $4,000, they've been anchored at $2,000.
Right.
So that makes it really, really tricky. So there are a few ways you could go about it. You could say, you know, starting from this price, but I would move that a little bit higher. Like I would make that around the average price that you usually paid for like a basic sort of package. I wouldn't make it like a super duper minimum if you're going to have a price there, because what you want is for most people to receive a quote that is at or around that from price.
Yeah. Okay.
Another thing to note is that when people look at prices, they only really look at the left digit. So if you said from 2,000, right, and then you came back to them and you say, oh, it's actually going to be 2,400, or even if you came back and said it's going to be 2,800, that wouldn't be as bad as saying, oh, it's actually going to be 3,000, because from $2,000 to 2,800 in the brain, it's not that much because the left digit hasn't changed.
Yes.
Really interesting. It's a really, really interesting shortcut that our brains do. But if you go from $2,000, but most people are actually getting the $3,000 mark, that's a really big jump.
Yeah.
They see that as $1,000. But if you had from $2,000 and then you came back and said 3,800, they would still only see it as about $1,000, even though it's almost $2,000. Which is really interesting. Yeah.
It's good to think about.
So I would pick, if you're going to pick a from number, I would pick one that's about the average to high mark. And you know what? You can come back with a quote that's lower too.
Yeah.
That can have a really good impact on how people feel as well.
Are you finished? I don't want to jump in.
Oh yeah, no.
I was thinking, because of the times, like to offer maybe like to write up some routines or something for a really cheap price, just because now would be the best time as people are home to implement things like that. Sorry.
As in like a checklist of routines?
Pardon?
As in a checklist, like a written checklist that people could follow?
Yeah, like say for 6 months old, this is the times they should nap.
Okay, yep.
And then for a 9-month-old.
That sort of thing, yeah. And then sell it as like a checklist that you could sell on your website or that?
Yeah.
If that's
so just like a download. Yeah,
if that's something that people would value, I would just do a quick bit of survey or polls with like, you know, people on your email list or in your group or that first. And just ask that first. There's been a lot of people who are bringing out a lot of new stuff at the moment because everyone's trying frantically to make money, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But some people are finding it difficult because they're coming at it from the place of, I need to get stuff out there. rather than starting from what do people need right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it really well when you said, you know, right now is a really good time to be working on this because people are at home, and you could then confirm that and just make sure that this is something that people value. What I wouldn't want to happen is for you to spend the time doing that, put it out there, and then people don't buy it because people don't want it or value it or that.
Yeah,
that's why
my concern.
Yeah, I would run that check first. I would do like some posts in some groups and just gauge. And remember too that even though people say, yes, I would value it, that doesn't equal a buy yet.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get an idea of like why it's valuable for people. Talk about the outcomes of what it is, not just, you know, yes.
Not just what it is.
Yeah, not just what it is, but the outcomes of what it would actually mean for them to have this based on your experience as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
That's okay.
That was my only two, so.
Okay. Sarah, what you got for me?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, you've already helped so much.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, the package thing is interesting because I have been thinking like in a time like this, like now is the time, like you do kind of need to innovate and think a little bit outside the box. So I think I definitely will experiment with some packages.
I have something for you.
Yeah.
So I want you to go to a new browser, and I want you to go to championsofvalue.com.
Champions.
Sabrina, you can do this too if you like.
Yeah, what is it?
If you go to a new browser on your internet and go to championsofvalue.com.
Yeah.
And click on, I'm going to do it too now, just so I know what you're looking at. And you want to go to courses, and then click on all
courses.
Click on courses, and then click on all access pass.
Oh, yep.
You're going to use the coupon code Insider Now.
Pardon?
You're going to use the coupon code Insider Now.
Yeah.
And then that will give you a month of access to those courses for $5 instead of $100.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you.
That's okay.
So cool.
Sarah, I mentioned that one because there's a packaging course in there. So this is by my mentor, Mark, and he's just released a packaging course last week.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going through it. It's really, really, really good. If you find it tricky, feel free to pop me any questions because it's a hard course. He explains it really well, but if you do have any questions or that, just pop them through to me. There's a few other courses in there as well. They're all about 2 hours long, and they have other material in there. There's one on pricing metrics. There's one on like being a value-based business and what that means. I highly, highly recommend getting in there. And if you're thinking about packaging, go through that packaging course for sure. The best one I think for you to do first, even if you have the time, is the value-based business one. I would recommend that one to everyone. And then packaging.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. No problem.
I didn't have any more questions.
No worries. That's okay. How about, hang on, I'm going to take a picture. How about we all smile? There we go. Just took a screenshot. Yeah, and let me know what you think of those courses. If you do, if you do have any questions, just pop me a message or email that anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's
Thank you.
No worries.
I have a lot more free time to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I've been reading a lot more now.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you guys feeling about your businesses over the next few months?
Well, I was really only just starting out, so it wasn't like a main thing for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a bit nerve-wracking though.
Yeah.
But seeing like all the other businesses that are so impacted already, like Isaac's daycare is crazy.
Wow.
Like she's had to fire people and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah.
Which sucks, but yeah.
It's a tough time.
Yeah.
But there's a lot we can't control and some things that we can control, and it's kind of getting our heads around the stuff that we can control and setting up for the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, that's right. We've been staying at home, so it's a bit boring, but I'd rather not get sick.
Yeah.
Well, not get sick with that.
Yeah, no, not dying is a good alternative.
Yeah.
Even if it is, I hear you though. I've been, because I like Sarah was saying before, like I work from home, so I'm pretty used to it. But not being able to get out and see people, I think that's what I'm finding hard. Is just not talking to people face to face.
Yeah.
Like Zoom is great, but it's not quite the same. Yeah.
And I can't wait to hug people again.
I know.
Hug people. Oh gosh.
You don't realise until you can't do things how much you do it.
Yeah. Or how much you rely on it, or
Yeah. And social distancing with a toddler just is non-existent.
I've seen so many posts that are like, how are you meant to do social distancing at school, at home, at daycare? Like that's just not. And I think they were like, oh, children are accepted.
Yeah, well, they'd have to be.
You can't really control them.
No, you can't. Be like, just stay 1.5 meters away from me.
Yeah.
Don't touch my food.
Oh,
so there's still so many people out there. Like we went for a drive yesterday, and it was still normal down the street.
Wow.
Which I thought was crazy.
Yes. Yeah. It's there's been a lot of people out walking out here where I am.
Yeah.
But
they were just going in the shops like normal, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
But if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Apparently there's going to be an announcement on Friday about daycares.
Yeah.
Which is,
I think they need to close. Sucks with the nurses, but like the one that Isaac's at, she's only got 4 kids a day.
Yeah.
It's not enough to keep them going.
Yeah.
But then they can't close because then they don't get the government assistance.
Yeah.
Which makes it hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky times, but
for sure.
We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a long few months.
Hopefully not too long. I have heard some optimistic projections, which I'm just kind of trying to keep in my mind and just be like, oh, it might only be a few months. It's fine. It's fine.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
At least it's winter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Not summer.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the other places in the world.
Yeah, it would have been summer for them, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That would have been worst.
Yeah, stuck inside. I might go make him a snack. He's asking. He wants food. That's what it is.
That's all good. That's all right.
Thank you for your help.
That's okay. You're welcome. Was it helpful?
Yes, very. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. I'll send you the link to the recording.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Nice. See you later, Sabrina.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry. My dogs are crazy.
That's okay.
Hey, there's no one there.
Oh, look, you've got one-on-one time now.
Crazy. Hey, enough. There's no one there. He thinks there's someone at the door.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just going to put them outside. I'll be back.
No worries. Come on. Hey, enough. Settle down.
Dear me. So do you do office hours every week? Twice a week?
Every week. Yep. Every week. It's usually at 1:00.
Yeah.
Just on one of the weekdays, Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been good. And I've had some people who will send me stuff beforehand, like they'll send me a proposal they're working on, or some ad copy or things like that, and then I can just sort of go through it with them in the session. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's really good. I've found, and I enjoy it. I love talking about pricing anyway. So
yeah, and it's cool that like we can hear advice that you're saying to other people, and kind of, even though it may not be like the same industry, like it can still be interesting to think about. So
a lot of the things that I talk about, you can take the general principles of them and apply them across industries, which is pretty cool. I try to keep it pretty principle based, because I find that that's what is most helpful, is what's going to be most helpful for people, is talking about something that they could apply in this situation or another business as well.
Yeah. So in terms of like coming up with a price, particularly when you're like starting out in something that is a little bit different, like with flowers, it's relatively easy because there's general like markup rules that you follow so that you can make profit from it. I mean, you can still like make your markup bigger if you want to, but there's a pretty good guideline of what you should be aiming for. But with something like coaching, like it can vary so much, and I think that's why I'm just like, oh my gosh, like where do you even start with that? So I guess my question is, like, not necessarily do you discount at the start, but yeah, like how do you come up with a price that feels comfortable for you based on like where you're at?
So that's a good question, and everyone asks me that question of like how to actually come up with a price, because at the end of the day you have to put a number on it. What I would do is I would go and find out what the value of your coaching sessions are. And what I would look at is what specific problems you're going to help people with, what the likely outcomes of that are, and what does that mean to their business in dollar terms. See, the beautiful thing about, because you've been in B2C, right? You've been a florist, and now you're going into B2B, where you're going to be serving businesses. In a lot of ways, it's easier to price B2B because you can actually look at an economic estimate of what you're going to do. So when I'm coming up with a price, say for like marketing management and pricing consulting, I'll come up with an economic estimate of how much money I think I can make them over a certain amount of time. And so what I would get clear on is, what do people need from you that you could do really well in a way that's different? It's really important that you are different, not just better, because if you are different, then you're more recognizable, you're easier to remember, your messaging is far clearer, people will see that you have an expertise in something, you get a higher credibility, higher trust rate, higher perceived value, and higher willingness to pay. So going into something specific, like say that you did do coaching for florist businesses, any size, that would be a great niche for you, because you already have experience in floristry, you have experience in the wedding industry, you know their clients and the language that their clients speak. You've got a lot of value for florist businesses out there. I would have a look into that. I would do a bit of research in terms of asking around and seeing other florists or even other wedding professionals who have hired business coaches to see what difference that has made for them, or what they would want from a coach in terms of helping them in their wedding business. What you want to find out is like what people value the most and what they're struggling with and what their challenges are. And you want to know it in their language, so that then you can go into your marketing and even in your product development and use that language, because that's going to be much clearer. Because it's easy to say, you can book a half-hour session with me or an hour session with me or a 2-week program. It's easy to say that, but it's not clear on what I'm actually getting from you if I'm going to hire you as a business coach. What's clearer is if you talk about a specific problem that someone has. Like, let's say, for example, you mentioned strategy, right? So let's say that you had a product that was strategy development for 6 months. And over 6 months, you help them with their strategy, or you have a couple of sessions where you help them nut out what their strategy is going to be for 6 months. That's much more clearer to them in terms of what they're going to get And then with that, you would talk about the outcomes that strategy would give them, the results that it would give their business, and that would add to that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So it does take more time and a bit more effort, but it is so much better for your business in the long run and better for your clients in the long run. They end up getting messages that are so much more clearer and so much more attractive to them. And the more attractive you can make your messaging to people, because it's really clear and they know what to expect and they know what to get from you, they know they know they can trust you, the easier it is for them to buy from you.
Yeah. I think that's kind of why I love the idea of offering just a couple of free sessions, kind of getting that experience, seeing like what are my ideal clients struggling with, because I think that will help me really kind of work out exactly what I want to coach on and what people need help with and the language that they're using. And so I think that's kind of on next on my to-do list, is kind of like fine. There's already like one girl who I have established a relationship with, and I think I just need to shoot her a message and be like, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? And go from there.
I would pick 5 or 10, depending on how much time you have.
Okay.
Like 10 is good, but if you don't have the time, do 5. And just make it clear to them, like, hey, this is a change I'm making in my business. I'm really excited. I'd love to offer you a free session or a free 2-week trial even. Where maybe you have a session or 2 with them each week for a couple of weeks or even a month, or it's up to you how long you do it and how much you give. I'd just say, in return, I'd really love your feedback on what was helpful, what I did well, what you would have liked to see as well. And I'd also like permission to share your positive feedback publicly. So I would go that route, because even just getting the feedback itself, that is going to be key for you. One of the questions that you should ask in your feedback is, what was the worst thing about working with me? It's a scary question, but it's a really good question to ask though, because at first people will be nice and be like, oh, there's nothing bad about working with you. But you've just got to encourage them to be honest with you, and they'll pick something, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be bad. It might just be a case of like, oh, this was good, but I think if it was like this, it would have been more clear, or this would have been more helpful, or I would have liked more detail on this, or, things like that. So, and trust me, you'll want to know now what the worst thing about working with you is, rather than after you start charging for it, because at least now, if you're not charging for it, you're not going to feel bad about it. Whereas if you started charging straight away and got that feedback, and I don't think there would be, but if there was a lot that they said they didn't like, you would feel worse about it. So that's a really good question to ask. Another really good question to ask is if you hadn't worked with me, what would you have done instead?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And what you want to know here is you're kind of asking them indirectly, who am I competing with? And if they name a coach, then you know that they see you as another coach. If they say, oh, I would have spent it on marketing or a new pair of shoes or bills or whatever, then you know it's a budgetary decision, and then they don't really see you as having competition necessarily. And that will be part of your messaging and making sure that people know you as different to just another general business coach. Not that there's anything wrong with general business coaches, but if you're going to niche down, you want it to be really clear that you're different in that way.
Yeah. Just another question that came to my mind. I don't know if this is something you necessarily have too much to say, because I might just need to, I don't know, see a business coach or something. But you talk a lot about like problems, outcomes, ideal client. I love the idea of starting a podcast. And I think, like, you probably remember, like, I organized a faith-based business retreat earlier this year, which went really, really well. And I would love to be able to like grow that in the future and like actually get amazing speakers on board and actually like monetize it. Like, that was kind of just for funsies. Like, I didn't make money from it. It was just, I just wanted to organize it. But it was like the girls said, it was so valuable. And I think it could be a really awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my attention's divided at the moment because I know I could probably make more money coaching florists because I can like really niche down, but I'm passionate about like so much more, which is why I like want to start a podcast so I can talk about things like creating a morning routine and like goal setting and like all of these like things that would apply to other business owners, and like kind of bringing faith into that. Like it doesn't need to be a huge part of it. So I guess my question is like, how do I navigate like being passionate about all these things, but then working out like how I can make money like as a business coach?
Yeah. So my answer is every touch point that you have with customers or your audience is either going to add value or detract value in the mind of the buyer. So, and this is something I talk about with people. When you understand how and why people buy, then you can know how to navigate those kinds of decisions. So that course, that value-based business course, that is a perfect one for you right now. The question I would ask is, if you do a podcast and you do those episodes on doing a morning routine, time management, you know, those sorts of things, will that add value to the people that you want to serve, whether they are Christian female business owners or whether they're just florist business owners? Will that add value or will it detract value? If it'll add value and you can afford to do it, perfect. If it's something that you don't think would add value, that they wouldn't find useful or valuable, then I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
That's the barometer that I usually make decisions by. It always comes back to, every decision you make in business always comes back to, will my buyer or will my potential buyer value this? Why? And then challenge yourself to and ask yourself why. Why would they value it? How would they know that it's valuable?
Yeah.
And that's where you start to talk about the outcomes of it as well. And even on your podcast, you could talk about why having a morning routine is good for your floristry business. There's your first episode.
Yeah. A lot to think about. And I think like there's definitely no right way to do things, which is why like you just gotta like think about all the pros and cons. So
That's all right.
And I think it makes it hard to make decisions in that sense because like there's no like roadmap of exactly how to get to where you want to go. So
no, but it is really important, and this is hard for business owners and it's hard for all of us. Like, I'm not excluding myself from this, but because we are the professional and we're in our craft and we know our skills so well, we tend to think a lot of the time from our own perspective of what we think would be really good or what we think sounds good or might be effective. But it's so important to actually step outside of ourselves and go out into our market, talk to our customers, talk to people, find out, what do you need? What would you like? What would you like to see more of, less of? How can I support you? Because if you do it from their perspective, then it is much more effective and you earn the right to charge more as well, because people value it much more. And you're going to that extra effort to try to help people in that way.
Just asking people like, what do you need from me, or like asking them the questions. What are you struggling with? Then it's something that I need to do.
Even in one of those big business groups, like in the big LMBDW group, or if you're in other business groups around, you could ask either wedding businesses or florist businesses specifically, like, what are you struggling with most right now? Or, you know, if there was one thing that you could have or do to improve your business if money wasn't an issue, what would it be? And then go from there. And that will give you some really, really cool insights. That's market research. It doesn't have to be $1 million company going and doing market research across 30,000 people. Even just asking a couple of questions like that in a Facebook group would be super, super valuable to you. And every single data point that you get on that thread is going to help you massively. It's also going to help you save time on not developing products and offerings that people don't value. Because you'll learn, the more you talk to your customers or potential customers, the more you'll learn what they don't need and don't want.
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. Do you have an email list?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I only just started one yesterday.
Okay.
Created my first freebie and put it out into the world. I think I have like 10 subscribers. With like what you were saying about like asking in the LMBDW groups, because I've noticed you do that as well. Is there a way to like let people comment and like, you know, engage in conversation and then like say, hey, I have a freebie, would this interest you? Or would that be seen as like salesy?
It depends on the language you use in the post. I would be upfront and say, you know, what is the freebie? Can I ask what the freebie is?
It's like 15 things wedding businesses can do during the slow season.
Okay, great. So what I would do is, because you've actually made it to help people in this time that we're going through, is I would do a post and say, hey everyone, I know that people are struggling right now. I've created a freebie to help business owners in this time. It does make you a subscriber. However, if you're not comfortable with that, just comment below and I'll just send it to you and you don't have to be subscribed. So you can give them the option as well. And I think people appreciate the upfrontness of that, and they appreciate being given the option, that more people will opt in than otherwise would have.
Yeah, that's cool actually. Hadn't thought of that. Awesome. Well, so many things to think about. I have like a page of notes.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, especially what you're saying about like offering discounts, like because you're new, is like so not a good thing to do. But like, yeah, I guess if I were to take the approach of, you know, this is a tough time for people, and if I can offer any help for whatever, it's yeah, it might be a better way to approach that. Yeah, okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I have a lot to think about and apply. And thanks for the Champions of Value link. That's cool.
Okay. No, you're very welcome. Let me know how you go with the courses. I mean, you can email Mark at any time as well. But yeah, I'm also here if you need a hand or have any questions or want to chat. So
thanks. Yeah, that's really cool. So is he your mentor?
Yes, he's my mentor. So I imagine, because usually if I have a meeting with someone who's never done anything in pricing before and I have a meeting with them, they usually get really quite overwhelmed because there's a lot more to pricing than you think. Then when I have meetings with him, it's the same thing because he's been doing pricing since before I was born. So,
yes, okay.
So I had a meeting with him this morning and I wrote down 2.5 pages of notes and I was just like,
that's crazy.
My brain just explodes. Yeah.
Where is he based? Is he in the US?
Yeah, he's in the US. So he works primarily with like tech companies, like multi-million and billion-dollar tech companies. So really high-level stuff.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. If you could find a florist business coach who's like 10, 20, 30 years in front of you, I highly recommend making a relationship with them and having like asking them if mentoring is something that they're open to, because having someone who is in your industry but well ahead of you as a mentor has honestly been one of the most valuable things for me in my business as well. Like I do have business coaches as well.
Yeah.
But it's just different when it's someone who's in your industry and they can actually help you understand what you do so much better and give you clarity around that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I my main coach named Candice, she used to be a wedding planner and now she's an educator for wedding professionals.
Nice.
So I suppose like very similar. And that's so far been quite helpful, and she's been really happy to help me along as I've wanted to tap into that too, which was cool. But yeah, I guess if and when I decide to niche down to like just florists, or if I decide to keep it open to like wedding professionals in general, then I need to work out what to do from there. But yeah, it's hard. Like, yeah, I totally understand like the value in niching down, but I'm so reluctant to. Like,
I know how you feel. Don't worry, you're not alone in that. I have the same conversation with my mentor where I'm like, I know I should be super specific, but I don't want to.
Yeah, like
it is hard. It is hard, but it is so effective, and it's actually the next thing on my list is to pick a market segment. So if I can do it, you can.
yeah, for sure.
We can all do it together. We can all niche down together.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, thank you again. It was so nice to see you and catch up.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Seems like you're doing really well, and it's been amazing to see what you've been doing with your business. And,
thank you.
Because I think we caught up, must have been like over a year ago, surely.
Yeah. I think
maybe about
like
a year
8 or 9 months. Yeah, something like that.
Wow, so much can change in that time. Hey, like
definitely.
You were still like pushing your bookkeeping stuff, and
yeah, that was a while ago.
That's not really something you're doing anymore, is it?
No.
Did you always see yourself going down into like the pricing consulting?
Oh no way.
Yeah.
I was more, the pricing was just meant to be like a way to niche as a bookkeeper. It was just meant to be like a little thing that I did. And then the more that I learned about it, and the more I realized like, oh my gosh, it's actually a whole profession, and there is so much to it. And and then I just became known for pricing, and everyone kept coming to me for it. And it is something that I am so passionate about, and it's something I have a knack for, whereas with bookkeeping there wasn't as much passion.
It was just something that you did, like
I was good at it, but it wasn't something that made me happy or got me excited or anything like that, whereas pricing is like, it's so exciting because it just changes a business owner and their business amazingly, and it changes everything. So
absolutely.
it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Thanks for coming along today. It was really nice to have you.
I'll try to make it to next week's as well.
Sure. Cool. Well, I hope to see you then.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Courtney. Have a good day.
Thanks, Sarah. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.